सारा शोर आज ही मचा लो तुम लोग. क्या? गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन. शुरू करें. ऑनलाइन पीपल ऑडिबल विजिबल. ठीक है, फाइन. चलिए, let us start. So we know few things about current affairs. What you have to do is, you already have the static content. The handout that you have is, you will pick the content out of it. इसको रखना नहीं है सजा के, ठीक है. It is not some treasure नहीं है कि घर पे ले गए रख लिया. All you have to do is pick the content through the pamphlet. I always say the lesser the book you have in your table, the better it is. कम से कम रखेंगे. Pick the content, whatever you have. जो भी इसमें news है, whatever you have done, economics, polity, wherever, just write that thing there and through this thing. Okay, do not keep it as such. And online people, I believe you all have access to that folder. You can access the PDF. Okay then. So let us start. Then the first news that we have is about renewable energy schemes. So first question is, why renewable energy? Because we are living in the era of climate change. For climate change, we have signed something called Paris Agreement. क्या हुआ? हाँ, 5 बजे की ही क्लास है, सीट नहीं है. एक सेकेंड. बच्चे इतने सीटें ही नहीं. साक्षी, थिंग्स कीप्स ऑन चेंजिंग. कोई नहीं, अभी पूरा प्लेटफॉर्म पड़ा है. बाहर लगा लेंगे, दीवार गिरा के थोड़ा अंदर ले लेते हैं इलाके को, टेंशन क्या है, कोई नहीं, फर्स्ट कम फर्स्ट सर्व था वैसे भी है, ठीक है। चलिए तो लेट अस स्टार्ट रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी स्कीम्स। So the first context is why. Focus करें. Why we are talking about renewable energy schemes? The prime reason is that we have signed something called Paris Agreement. Paris Agreement, which is the current agreement that is dealing with the climate change. It is under a umbrella agreement known as UNEF CCC. यूनाइटेड नेशन फ्रेमवर्क कन्वेंशन ऑन क्लाइमेट चेंज, इट इज अम्ब्रेला अग्रीमेंट। ये स्टैटिक कोर्स का हिस्सा है, ये क्लासरूम प्रोग्राम में इट मस्ट बी टॉट इन एनवायरमेंट एज वेल एज इन आईआर में मे बी, बट इन इकोनॉमिक्स मस्ट बी, ठीक है, पर्टिकुलरली इन जीएस पेपर 3 एनवायरमेंट they must be taught the various negotiation that is going on. In that you need to know the dimension of India, what India wants, ठीक है। So in that, under Paris Agreement, we have agreed over few terms. Most important, India has given something called, remember रखिएगा सब लोग, this term INDC, intended nationally determined contribution. It's different. Understand this. There was a big fight between two countries, that is America and India. America wanted that every nation will decide their own contribution. India wanted that there will be a contribution decided at the level of United Nations and all will obey. America wanted that nations will determine, they will give and they will obey. But India wanted that UN will determine and everyone will obey. But ultimately we know we live in a world made by US, sustained by US. This is US values we have. So US is the most powerful country. It knows how to arm twist countries. Ultimately, all countries gave up their position. Developing countries gave up their position and they agreed on INDC. This is clear. What is INDC? Intended nationally determined contribution. Under this, every country will determine their own contribution to climate change prevention. Clear this term? And what is climate change? We all know what is climate change. What is climate change? Climate change means basically erratic climate because of rising temperature. Global warming, because of global warming, the climate is becoming erratic. You cannot predict what may happen today, what may happen tomorrow. As you are seeing in India, the heat wave is so strong, sometimes rains come, then it happen, that happen. You cannot predict it actually, what is going to happen tomorrow. That is called climate change. And keep this in mind, in that you will understand something called climate as a core concern. So humanity, do you think humanity is concerned about climate change? Humanity is concerned about itself. Again, always remember this, we don't, for nature we are nothing. For example, coronavirus came, it did not hate us. ऐसा नहीं है कि it wanted to kill humanity. For coronavirus, we are just a body. It comes, multiply in our cell and then kill the body in the process. But it does not hate us. So similarly, climate does not care about us. We care about climate change because we care about ourselves. So it is the debate that is, it is not ethical climate action. We are not fighting climate change because we care about climate, we care about other species, we care about ourselves. And that's why we want to show that climate should not change to the level we cannot reverse it back. सबको समझ में आया? So for that, one of the most important component is renewable energy. It is less polluting. For example, electric cars are being promoted by the government excessively. Do you think electric cars are non-polluting? What do you think? Yes. Electric cars are more polluting than your diesel and petrol vehicle because the electricity that they use is generated by thermal power. Energy chapter is proper chapter in your economics. वहाँ पे आप करेंगे, the energy is produced by thermal energy, majority of the component, and that is produced by older technology like oil, fossils and whatever. So electric car as such may not be polluting, but the energy that it used to run itself is polluting. Above that, then comes the disposal of batteries drama, the lithium ion battery that we use, disposal. So currently the electric vehicles are more polluting. Then why government is aggressively promoting them? Because they in future देखिए people do not switch immediately. अब गवर्नमेंट आती है कहती है कि I will discard all vehicles and you must switch to electric vehicle. There will be a ruckus. So what government is doing, slowly people will transform. By the time मान लेते 20-30 year down the line, we will have sufficient renewable energy. Then everyone will have a electric car. So it's a slow process always take place. ठीक है? For that purpose we have renewable energy projects. Clear है सबको the background and everything? चलिए. So let's see ahead. So Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, everyone remember, Government of India has created a special ministry for this purpose known as Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. It recently held some review meeting. So in that context, we are studying. Current affairs mein, I told you, political news are not important, but the spin-offs are important. For example, Rahul Gandhi said something to Kejriwal, we don't care. But why he said so? What is the constitutional framework of that? The debate is going on. Parliament inauguration. Opposition is saying that that Pradhan Mantri Modi should not inaugurate Parliament. The president should, which legally speaking is right, because the definition of Parliament is President, Rajya Sabha, and Lok Sabha. So president should do the inauguration, but we know the Prime Minister of India. Rest I will not say. I love my freedom. That's a different thing. But clear है this thing. So about the renewable energy, the first thing that we have is Kusum. PM Kusum, short form में you can remember, और प्रधानमंत्री किसान ऊर्जा सुरक्षा एवं उत्थान महाअभियान. No imposition of Hindi on anyone. ठीक है? तो South people do not scared that India is imposing Hindi over you. It is not Hindi imposition. ऐसे ही बोला जाता है इसे. ठीक है? Clear है everyone? So प्रधानमंत्री किसान ऊर्जा सुरक्षा एवं उत्थान महाअभियान, or in short PM Kusum. So what's the purpose? अब इसमें you need to understand a criteria. Whenever you are reading any news, any policy, so policies or scheme में you need to know few parts, no details, but know what is the targets there, why it was brought, what could have done. Got the point? These kind of things you must cover. So we have covered very basic point about this scheme. Let's see. It is designed to provide energy security to farmers. Why energy security to farmers? Because farmer use इसमें थोड़ा सा there is a background of economics in green notes में है नीचे green revolution के बारे में. So there is a thing called green revolution. Green revolution was primarily based on what? High yield HYV seeds. Along with this comes fertilizers and irrigation. There was a problem with that. इससे क्या हुआ? We became food sufficient. There was a time when, I hope you remember, second Prime Minister of India, Lal Bahadur Shastri, he gave a slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. What was it? Jai Jawan means physical security of India, because we had a war with China and Pakistan. Jai Kisan means food security of India. The scenario was so stark that Pradhan Mantri of that time, he has to say that eat one time. We were in such severe condition that a prime minister is calling to the people, eat one time. He started farming in his own PM house. After that comes green revolution. We became food sufficient, but there was one problem with that. That HYV seeds require irrigation. So what happened? Irrigation is not available everywhere. More than 50% of India's entire farmland is rain-fed. Rain-fed means it depends upon rain critically. The proper farming irrigation should be canal irrigation. The government must link canal to rivers or dam, whatever, and it should supply water to the farmers. But it never happened. So you got HYV seeds, but you did not get irrigation. So what you will do after that? Tube wells. That's the problem. That because you could not get irrigation, and these seeds require assured irrigation. So seeds you can buy in the market. So government introduced seeds, for example, in Haryana and Punjab. But from Haryana and Punjab, it can travel to entire India. You can buy them easily from the market. But irrigation is something you cannot buy. It must be provided by the government. You cannot lay a canal for yourself, common sense. So what you started to do? Tube wells. You dig a borehole and then you started extracting water. Okay? And for that you used electricity. Of course, that runs on traditional generators and all that requires your diesel or electric supply. So government thought a large contribution, you are using a diesel generator, it is polluting the environment, it is diluting India's climate change efforts. Diesel engine is a polluting engine. So what that generator will do, it will emit carbon dioxide and all, and it will hamper India's effort of dealing with INDC. सबको समझ में आ रहा है? So for that we have launched PM Kusum. सबको समझ में आया why this has been launched? It will shift farmers from a traditional diesel based or traditional electricity based generator to solar based generators. Clear to everyone what is PM Kusum? जल्दी से देख लेते हैं. By 2030 the scheme aims to achieve 40% share of installed capacity from clean energy sources, मतलब renewable sources, that will help India's INDC. Link is clear to everyone. So it is linked to climate change and renewable energy is inherently linked to climate change. यार अभी तो बताया था स्टार्टिंग में. अच्छा, intended nationally determined contribution under Paris Agreement. Every country decide what they will do to achieve climate change targets, and then they have to stick by them. So that is called INDC. क्लियर है सबको? तो याद रखिएगा दो चीज INDC में. पहला, it is determined by nations themselves, and second, it is under Paris Agreement. ठीक है, चलिए. और बाकी मैंने आपको समझा दिया. This initiative promote solar power, including installation of solar pump, solar grid connected power plant, solarization of existing agriculture pump. Reason you got the reason why it is done. There are three components it has for setting up 1000 megawatt of decentralized. अब इसमें एक टर्म इस्तेमाल हुई, decentralized grid connected renewable energy. अब इसमें हाँ ये सब्सिडी है ना. आप गवर्नमेंट इज प्रमोटिंग व्हाट? सोलर पंप्स. एंड सोलर पंप्स के लिए गवर्नमेंट विल गिव अ पार्ट, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द पार्ट, एंड यू विल हैव टू गिव अ पार्ट, एंड रिमेनिंग पार्ट विल बी फाइनेंस्ड बाय अ बैंक. मान लेते गवर्नमेंट विल गिव 50%, 40% विल बी फाइनेंस्ड बाय द बैंक. ऑल यू हैव टू गिव इज 10% ऑफ द कॉस्ट. दैट्स हाउ इट वर्क्स. बट गुड इनिशिएटिव, नो डाउट गुड इनिशिएटिव. So what I was talking about, decentralized grid connected. What is the biggest problem India has with renewable energy? Lack of. first तो theoretically ही सही है, रियल लाइफ में तो मैं पता ही है, थ्योरी बेस्ट होता है. ठीक है. so देखिए, हाँ आई एग्री. देखिए प्रॉब्लम्स है, नो प्रॉब्लम, नो स्कीम इज विदाउट प्रॉब्लम्स. हाँ तो देखिए रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी में द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम वी हैव इज करंट our how I hope you have a producing plant. That producing plant transmit electricity to a storage distributor. That distributor ultimately distribute. For example, Delhi mein you have BSES. BSES does not generate electricity, it just provide you electricity. So what happens? This producer sell electricity to a transmitter, the transmitter sell electricity to a distributor, and distributor provides to the consumer. That's how electricity come. But there is one problem, that this is one-sided transaction. We created our entire grid network. You have seen the long wires going in the roads. आपने देखी होंगी रोड में बड़ी-बड़ी वायर जो रहती हैं. They are grid. So that grid, is it clear now, Altaf? हाँ ये कर लो, पहले लड़ लो तुम लोग. ऑनलाइन वाले लगे रहते हैं हमेशा. हाँ, so what I was saying, so this is the transmission of electricity from producer to transmitter to distributor, ultimately to consumer. But this is one-sided transmission. So entire grid that we have made is all for one-sided transmission of electricity, that to dependable transmission. अब प्रॉब्लम क्या है? रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी. रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी आप भी बना सकते हैं. यू कैन इंस्टॉल अ रूफटॉप सोलर पावर प्लांट. easily. अब you produce electricity, that electricity must be given to the grid. पर ये क्या होगा, रिवर्स हो जाएगा. Getting the point? Our grid is created for one-sided transmission of electricity, but if you start installing solar power plant, then it will be reverse transmission of electricity, and our grids are not prepared for that. इसलिए this is the biggest problem. That's why the term here is used, decentralized grid. For every small thing, we will have a decentralized grid system. Clear है सबको? तो इसके लिए what we are doing about this, you will study in economy politically properly, IS, GAN. Government another initiative, International Smart Grid Action Network. What we are trying to do, we are trying to make our grid smart. International Smart Grid Action Network. What it will do, it will make our grid computerly connected smart grid. So you have also seen one scenario. India right now is a surplus producer of energy. We have more electricity that can be consumed within the country, but still you have places where there is no electricity. हमारे पास अभी, why? Because there is irrational allocation of electricity. Online people, voice clear नहीं आ रही क्या आप लोगों को? How is it now? ठीक है. यहां तक सबको समझ में आया? तो ISGN क्या करेगा? इट इज द इंटरनेशनल स्मार्ट ग्रिड एक्शन नेटवर्क. व्हाट इट विल डू, it will try to computerize our entire grid system. So what the computers will do, they will see where there is more demand. मान लेते हैं there is more demand in Nagaland than in Delhi. So what it will do, it will transfer electricity meant for Delhi to Nagaland. Also it will make sure that any kind of electricity, howsoever decentralized, अभी तो आपके पास proper plant होते हैं, and that plant supply a credible electricity with proper voltage. This ISGN, what it will do, it will make sure that wherever electricity is produced, it will accordingly adjust your grid action. मान लेते हैं from one wire it will supply electricity, and when some electricity come from other side, it will stop the supply and will receive the electricity. सबको समझ में आया? तो this is the revolution that we are trying to get into grid, and this is the fundamental problem in integrating all sources of energy. आपका renewable, खासकर solar, wind, other kind of sources of energy, integration problem क्या है? Our grid is one-sided grid. Clear है सबको? Actually, we have to keep it somewhere, ना? देखिए, for example, you are दिल्ली में there are more producer of electricity or solar. So and they are, मान लेते हैं there is some place where there is less solar electricity. मान लेते हैं लद्दाख में, वहाँ पे you do not have proper sun rays. So what you can do, you will transfer electricity from Delhi to Ladakh, but that cannot happen because the grid is made from thermal producer to that place. पर यहाँ पे आपको घर से लेके जानी है, तो उसके लिए what we will do, we will create a system in which electricity can be adjusted according to the demand and supply. IS से that's different. वो तो मोदी जी का आइडिया है, in which all the countries within the tropics I believe सबको पता है, tropic of Cancer and tropic of Capricorn क्या होते हैं ये? पता तो सबने बोल दिया है? तो काहे डिवीजन क्या है? वो क्या चीज है? वो क्या रिप्रेजेंट करता है? इट रिप्रेजेंट समथिंग. ज्योग्राफी वाले सर बुरा मान जाएंगे तुम लोगों का. कितनों का ज्योग्राफी हो गया? गैस मत मारो, उड़ते हुए तीर मत मारो कि निशाना पे लग जाए. है तुम्हारा नहीं हुआ है? Solstice, that's entirely different. Imaginary horizontal line along with the equator. If we make solar electricity at large, we make a large space. That is the progressivity. Rohit, there is something called solar rooftop plant. गवर्नमेंट अलाउ करती है, गवर्नमेंट का जो इनिशिएटिव अभी करेंगे थोड़ी देर में, रूप पे भी होता है. यस, दैट इज व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. इट इज अवेलेबल. ट्रॉपिक्स किसी को नहीं पता? कोई तो बता दो, इज्जत रख लो मेरी. ट्रॉपिक्स इज अ प्लेस वेयर द सन टर्न्स. हद हो गई यार, ट्रॉपिक्स नाम ही इसीलिए रखा है. हाँ बोलिए. अरे भगवान, तो उसका नाम ट्रॉपिक क्यों रखा हमने? इसलिए रखा बिकॉज इट टर्न्स, द सन जो होता है वो मैक्सिमम ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैंसर से ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैप्रिकॉर्न के बीच में ऑसिलेट करता है, दैट्स व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड ट्रॉपिक। अच्छा, ये भी मैं ही पढ़ा हूँ, ठीक है, चलो एनीवे क्लियर है। तो दिस इज वी हैव अ कुसुम स्कीम एंड क्लियर ग्रिड प्रॉब्लम एवरीवन। नेक्स्ट प्रॉब्लम इन सोलर, व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट प्रॉब्लम आफ्टर ग्रिड? स्टोरेज टेक्नोलॉजी। Storage, currently we are dependent on lithium ion storage technology that is not feasibly available for large capacity, तो उस पर भी चल रहा है, देखते हैं आगे क्या होता है, ठीक है, याद रखिएगा लोग। चलिए नेक्स्ट स्कीम देखते हैं, रूफटॉप सोलर प्रोग्राम दैट आई टोल्ड यू, फर्स्ट कंपोनेंट इज कुसुम। हाँ साक्षी, जम्मू कश्मीर मिला तो है, बट भाई कहाँ पोडियम पे बिठाए? चलिए नेक्स्ट वी हैव इज रूफटॉप सोलर प्रोग्राम, सेम इशू सेम प्रॉब्लम, सिर्फ नाम से याद रखिए दैट इन दिस व्हाट वी डू, वी एनी इंडिविजुअल, देखिए यहाँ पे टर्म लिखा है, इंडिविजुअल्स, कम्युनिटीज एंड businesses they can establish solar plants, government provide initiative, but problem फिर भी same है, that you can generate electricity for your own use, you cannot transmit that to the grid। इसके लिए I think you have seen a new initiative, net metering। कभी net metering सुना है? मीटर देखिए, प्रीपेड मीटर्स, वो ही है प्रीपेड मीटर्स में क्या होगा, गवर्नमेंट इज नाउ स्विचिंग ऑल द मीटर्स, स्लोली प्रीपेड मीटर्स विल बी अवेलेबल एवरीवेयर इन द कंट्री। What will happen, just the way you have in mobile, you recharge, you use, similarly in this you will recharge, you will use, but there will be net meters also, मतलब electricity coming from the grid to your house as well as from your house to the grid, it will do a net। मान लेते हैं you use 100 unit of electricity from the government and you supply 20 units of electricity using solar rooftop plants, so what will happen, the net bill will be 80 units। that is another mechanism being done। हाँ कर देते होंगे फिक्स, अब उसका क्या कर सकते हैं। अगला है नेशनल ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन मिशन, हाइड्रोजन मिशन फर्स्ट, हाइड्रोजन H2, the most clean soil, sorry, the most clean source of energy and it is widely available in the entire universe, but then why I am using the word green, जबकि ये तो खुद ही ग्रीन होती है, it is non polluting। हाइड्रोजन से आपको अल्टीमेटली क्या मिलता है, वाटर, व्हेन यू बर्न हाइड्रोजन यू गेट वाटर, इट इज मोस्ट, इट इज एनीवे ग्रीन, देन व्हाई आई एम यूजिंग द वर्ड ग्रीन, प्रॉब्लम इज दैट राइट नाउ वी प्रोड्यूस इलेक्ट्रिसिटी यूजिंग इलेक्ट्रिक आर्क, सॉरी राइट नाउ वी प्रोड्यूस हाइड्रोजन यूजिंग इलेक्ट्रिसिटी आर्क सिस्टम, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का इस्तेमाल करके वी डिवाइड वाटर एंड वी क्रिएट हाइड्रोजन। वाटर मिला आपको, वाटर इज H2O, we use electric arc, we divide and we extract hydrogen, but electricity comes from where, वही वाली बात फिर आ गई, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कार वाली, electricity we produce from traditional sources, so that's why we are using the word green। we are developing new technologies by which we can produce hydrogen, same process होगा, from water we will create hydrogen, but the way will be sustainable and green, clear है, that's why the word is ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन। सबको क्लियर, कोई इशू? बायोफ्यूल्स आर डिफरेंट रोहित, दे आर क्रिएटेड यूजिंग एनारोबिक रिएक्शन। हाँ, व्हाट इज व्हाट, अब उसमें कैसा टाइप है, दे ऑल डिपेंड्स अपॉन द प्रोडक्शन। देखिए हाइड्रोजन प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं आप, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन विच प्रोसेस यू आर यूजिंग, दे आर क्लासिफाइड ग्रे, ब्लू, ग्रीन, क्लियर, but we are more focusing on what, green hydrogen, to produce hydrogen ना sustainable। हाँ बोलिए, क्या गुजरात में, कभी पधारो गुजरात में, बोलो बोलो क्या, अरे बोल दो, शर्माओ मत। so these are India's target that were for 2022, ठीक है, these were the target। आप देख सकते हैं सोलर से अराउंड 100 गीगावाट, विंड से 60, बायोमास 100, जो सॉरी 10 एंड स्मॉल हाइडल प्रोजेक्ट 5 गीगावाट, दीज वर द टारगेट्स ऑफ 2022। गुजरात में बच्चे पास सही नहीं हो रहे क्या? हाँ ऐसा ही कुछ। ये कहाँ की न्यूज़ है, क्या हो गया? अच्छा रिजल्ट आया, उसकी बात हो रही होगी। तुम किसी गुजरात की बात कर रहे थे, संभल के बात करा करो गुजरात के बारे में। बता रहा हूँ। मतलब बेचारा कुछ नहीं कर रहा, तुम इसे बर्बाद हो। चलिए अगला देखते हैं। The renewable energy capacity of 172 gigawatt has already been established. It's a very good measure. 172 gigawatt from renewable energy. It's a very good status. We started, I believe, from 40 to 50. We have achieved. देखिए मोदी गवर्नमेंट की सक्सेस में few success. देखिए social we cannot debate, but economically we can say few success this government enjoys. One of that is its excessive push on renewable energy. No doubt over that. So this is very high, 172 gigawatt, close to 129 gigawatt is either in implementation or tendered. If it will be combined, it will become around 301 gigawatt in the future, which is a very good measure. But problem will still be the same. We have electricity. How to supply it? Production is not a problem. You can produce. How to supply it is a problem. That's why even today we are a surplus producer of energy. But still we have villages without electricity. The reason being we are unable to supply. But देखिए it's a long term process. आप एक दिन में पूरा ग्रिड नहीं बदल पाओगे. It will take time. It's costly. It monetarily very costly. You have to change the entire network. तो उसमें थोड़ा टाइम तो लगेगा. But nonetheless एक चीज तो अच्छी हो गई. क्लियर? चैलेंजेस मैं आपको बता चुका हूं. देखिए चैलेंजेस देख लेते हैं. व्हाट आर द बिगेस्ट चैलेंजेस इन सोलर इंपोर्ट्स? पहला तो है डिपेंडेंसी ऑन इंपोर्ट्स, बिकॉज इंडियाज करंट सोलर मॉड्यूल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कैपेसिटी इज जस्ट 15 गीगावाट पर ईयर. बहुत ही कम है. जो मॉड्यूल्स बनते हैं सोलर मॉड्यूल्स दैट यू हैव सीन, पैनल्स देखे ना, पैनल्स में जो मॉड्यूल लगते हैं, इंडियाज प्रोडक्शन कैपेसिटी इज मेरे 15 gigawatt per year. This is very severely low. From where we manufacture, that's why India is dependent on solar wafers, polysilicon ingots. Currently import 100% of silicon wafers. So this is make in India. Adani wafers खाते नहीं हो wafers. Chips. हाँ yes, नहीं इसमें गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, आई टोल्ड यू, दे आर वर्किंग वेरी गुड. When you will do proper classroom program of economics, तो वहाँ पे there is a proper chapter of renewable energy, proper chapter there. You will do all the projects including solar पे good initiatives have been taken. वही हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. यहाँ तक क्लियर है? We have seen 3 programs, then we have seen the status. Now we are seeing some issues. The biggest issue is dependence on import. Next, older technology. India's manufacturers still depend on older. अब ये पैनल का कुछ फॉर्म है. We do not need to remember exactly what is this AIBSF. All you remember that India depends on older technology. Exactly, nobody will ask what is that. Next, India is more of a assembly hub than a manufacturing hub. ये तो आपको पता लग गया. We are dependent on import. But more I am concerned about is China. That China is the 90% of the world solar wafer manufacture currently happens in China. So this comes to another question or another issue, IR issue. Can we boycott China economically? We cannot boycott China economically. If you want to achieve 300 gigawatts of electricity, you are dependent on China. That's why Modi ji brought Atmanirbhar Bharat, because he cannot boycott, but the people can. Government cannot boycott China because there is an institution at the world level. क्या नाम है उसका? WTO, World Trade Organization. If we boycott China, मतलब government of India boycott China, it can drag India into WTO. जैसे US has dragged India in past. Government of India had a policy that solar manufacturer will use more domestic sources than imported sources. USA took India to WTO. United States of America, our so-called friend, it took India to WTO, and ultimately WTO gave a judgment against India. So we had to reverse our policy. आपने शायद सुना हो. So National Solar Mission. Clear? So these are some problem we have. Apart from कुछ problem मैंने आपको बताई, grid problem, storage problem. Above that, import problem and Most important, Chinese import problem. Clear? So these are some problem in solar energy. Yes, kind of, Soham. Yes, kind of. Semiconductor industry. That's why Make in India is very critical for India. चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. Let's see ahead. Poor invest challenge. WTO मैंने आपको बता ही दिया that India lost a case in WTO over India's import duty. This is that US case I was talking about. So case मैंने आपको बताया ना US वाला, ये उसी की बात हो रही है. Renewable energy significance, not very important. You know, air quality improvement and that drama. चलिए, that we had for renewable energy. So renewable energy में all you have to remember is what are the policies, what are the scheme, what are their objectives, and what is the status, and what are the challenges. कोई भी any government scheme, all you need to know is what is the scheme, 2 to 3 points. Then what is the status of the scheme, one line at most, without data. Data मतलब आपने देखा होगा, there are a lot of newspaper we publish, we have produced this much gigawatt in 96.6% something. ऐसा नहीं, general idea रखिए बस, that we have produced more than 90%. UPSC never ask exact data, and it will never ask you that in question also. Means I am asking about. All you have to do is remember general idea. कि we have achieved 1/3 of production, या we have achieved roughly 80% production. Exact figure important नहीं है. 81.3 बुक्स में लिखा होता है, इसलिए आई एम टेलिंग यू. इफ यू रीड इकोनॉमिक्स बुक और अदर बुक्स, उसमें एग्जैक्ट डेटा दे देते हैं वो, एंड बच्चे कंफ्यूज होता है कि यार ये तो कैसे याद करेंगे इतना सारा डेटा. तो जरूरत है ही नहीं. ऑल यू नीड टू नो इज अ रफ आइडिया. क्लियर? अगला, ओपन नेटवर्क फॉर डिजिटल कॉमर्स. Next news we have is open network for digital commerce. After UPI, it is also being called as UPI of payments. The payment mein you use UPI na, which has revolutionized the payment system. This is another initiative which can revolutionize your e-commerce market. What is e-commerce? Your Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, जो भी ये ड्रामे होते हैं, these all are e-commerce. I think previous year UPSC asked a question on e-commerce policy. E-commerce policy में they asked question. We will look at that also. हाँ, अच्छा आइडिया रोहित, इट्स अ वेरी गुड आइडिया. सो पहले तो वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई गवर्नमेंट ब्रॉट ओएनडीसी. ऐसा क्या जरूरत पड़ गई? देखिए, देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम विद करंट ई कॉमर्स इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम इज मोनोपोली. अब फॉर एग्जांपल, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू, मतलब हाउ मेनी साइट्स यू यूज टू ऑर्डर थिंग्स? मैक्सिमम आई बिलीव Amazon एंड फ्लिपकार्ट ही होगा. उसके अलावा आई रियली थिंक यू विल यूज एनीथिंग. मिंत्रा दे आर द सब ब्रांचेस ऑफ फ्लिपकार्ट, उसी का हिस्सा है. हाँ, Myntra is a part of Flipkart, Afifa. So anyway, these are the main supplier in e-commerce market. So they enjoy monopoly, and monopoly means imagine करते हैं there are 10 seller in the market, and I am the only gateway to the customers. So I can control which seller will sell their products. And से नुकसान क्या हो रहा था? The biggest problem that we were having is our traditional brick mortar दुकान जो है, the shops, they were getting hurt. The problem is they are unable to get the customers because this e-commerce market has the customer, and this is because we are lazy. Nowadays, this window shopping has become on apps is very common. Scroll. Okay, and people do not like to visit the market they used to once upon a time. क्या हुआ? हाँ, वो second problem पे आएंगे. पहली problem तो ये हो गई that we do not like to go anywhere. ठीक है? And it is easily available. देखिए, you go to a market, you go to multiple places, you get tired. Sitting in the AC room, you can check any product, order any product. So that's one component that gives accessibility. And they use this position to monopolize. They can select which seller will sell. So first reason. Second reason that he said deep discounting. It's another problem. That online may you can get a cheaper product, and it works with deep discounting. They provide, if you become a premium member, 60% off, 70% off. Again, voice disturbance. कांग्रेस का हाथ है इसमें. मोदी जी की तारीफ हो रही है ना. ठीक है, चलिए. एनीवे, first problem is clear that it is easily available, so you use online platform. Second problem that we have is deep discounting. a normal shopkeeper cannot compete with a big company. That what, for example, Zomato, when it initially came, it gave deep discounts to capture the market. There was another app, आपने शायद नाम सुना, Uber Eats. आई थी, वो खत्म हो गई. Uber Eats used to give deep discounting, 80 to 90% discount it gave. खासकर जब उसके 3-4 महीने बचे थे जिंदगी के. It was like बर्बाद करके जाऊंगा सबको. So a lot of people use that, but that was the problem. देखिए, a normal brick mortar person cannot compete with this online giants. यहाँ तो बात समझे, दो चीजें. Another thing that we need to understand is something called marketplace model and inventory model. There are two models of e-commerce: marketplace and inventory. So marketplace model, as the name suggests, that e-commerce site will act like a third party, neutral third party. Means they will provide a marketplace only. Marketplace model means the e-commerce site, मान लेते हैं Amazon. The Amazon will allow its platform for every seller. It will not promote anyone, it will not demote anyone, and it's up to customer whom they choose. But ऐसा कोई नहीं करता, हम सबको पता है. You have seen sponsored content, उसमें लिखा होता है ना Amazon choice. अगर आपने कभी प्रोडक्ट सर्च किया हो, उसमें Amazon put up tag Amazon choice, और यूजली लोगों को लगता है Amazon choice माने अच्छी चॉइस. नहीं लगता? फिर बढ़िया है, तुम सही हो. ठीक है, चलिए. एनीवे, बट ऑफन दैट हैपेंस. सो मार्केटप्लेस मॉडल, हाँ, फ्लिपकार्ट अश्योर्ड काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स, जिसमें दे प्रोवाइड एक्स्ट्रा थिंग. So you have a marketplace model. सबको समझ में आया? In this, the e-commerce platform will act like a neutral provider of market. It will not promote anything, it will not demote anything. Most important, it will not create inventory. Inventory माने it will not have a warehouse with commodity. मान लेते हैं I place an order on Amazon for a phone. So what Amazon will do? Amazon will send that order to, मान लेते हैं I have ordered iPhone. It will send that order to Apple. The Apple store, wherever it will be, it will send the product to me. So that's marketplace model. Another model is inventory model. Inventory model में, rather than I purchasing the iPhone from Apple, the Amazon will itself buy Apple products. It will buy Apple iPhone from Apple company. It will keep them in a inventory, and whenever we will place an order, they will supply that product from their inventory, not from directly to the not from directly from the producer. सबको समझ में आया? दो मॉडल. These are the two model. हाँ, ये सब दोगलापन है, आई नो. चलिए, एनीवे, दोनों मॉडल समझ में आया? कीप दिस इन माइंड. एंड विच मॉडल इज अलाउड इन इंडिया? मार्केटप्लेस. Actually में e-commerce policy, that's what UPSC asked. I previous year paper में it asked which of the following statement are true about e-commerce policies. में एक statement थी, India allows trans inventory model. Statement सही है, गलत है? गलत. Policies, keep this in mind. Whichever policy comes in news, you must cover it. Policy में no excuse are there. Policy, few point about policy. Then I told you few dimension you need to know. What is it? Why it was there? What is the status? What are the weakness? These are the four things you immediately think about any policy, any government scheme. Clear to this much, everyone? अब देखते हैं what is ONDC. So we have understood why ONDC. Now we will understand what is ONDC. It is an open network for commerce. नाम से पता लग रहा होगा. Open network for digital commerce or e-commerce. एक और बार एक्सप्लेन करना है. ओके, अंडरस्टैंड दिस. मार्केटप्लेस एंड इन्वेंटरी, देयर आर टू मॉडल्स वी हैव, मार्केटप्लेस एंड इन्वेंटरी. मार्केटप्लेस मॉडल में इट विल प्रोवाइड अ मार्केट. ऐसे मानिए फॉर एग्जांपल आईफोन. सो आई प्लेस एन ऑर्डर ऑन Amazon फॉर आईफोन. तो Amazon विल ट्रांसफर दैट टू एप्पल कंपनी. द एप्पल कंपनी विल डिस्पैच द प्रोडक्ट टू मी डायरेक्टली. Amazon will not play in between. That is called marketplace model. And they can choose any provider. ऐसा नहीं है कि they will supply from Amazon shipping. They can use Flipkart shipping to supply the product. इससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ना which shipper will be there. They can use Blue Dart, Delivery. There are numerous suppliers. They do not have to depend on Amazon supplier. That is called marketplace. You are just a market and nothing else. Inventory में you are not a market. Amazon will buy iPhones in bulk, keep them in their inventory, and whenever an order will come, it will supply the product to the customer. It can give the deep discounts. अब एक स्मॉल शॉप वाला कितने खरीद लेगा? 10, 20. Amazon can buy in thousands and it can negotiate a better deal with Apple. You give me that product for 70,000, market price is 90,000, so 20,000 per phone Amazon will make. उसके बाद भी Amazon will give you 15,000 discount, तब भी Amazon will make 5,000. और आपको लगेगा कि आपको 15,000 सस्ता मिला. If you go to the market, you will get 90,000. Amazon पे 75,000. You got 15,000 extra, but Amazon is still making the money. So they because they of their bulk size, they can negotiate better deal, but that hampers our normal stores. And e-commerce is bringing to unemployment. अब कितनी देर compete कर लेगा वो? So the small stores, and remember MSME, आपको सब समझते हैं, micro, small, medium enterprise. They are the largest provider of jobs in India. Majority of the jobs in India are provided by MSME. So because of this big Amazon, Flipkart kind of platforms, our MSME shops are getting closed down. And the more they close down, the more people will get unemployed. One of the reason of high unemployment in India currently, one reason is digital revolution. It is one of the reason. आप लोग इतने सारे यहाँ पे बैठे हैं, इसी वजह से बैठे हैं. या ठीक है. Why? Because micro, small and medium enterprise. Micro, small and medium enterprise. For example, why there is so less of job? आपको पता होगा, we are now the populous country in the world. Populous country in the world. कोई काम नहीं हम लोगों के पास बच्चे पैदा करने के अलावा. But there is a problem. We are the youngest country as well. It's a good thing. But the problem is, वो young लोग अभी Instagram पे फंसे हुए हैं, तो उनका वो एंजल प्रिया का अकाउंट बना के बैठे हुए सब. एंजल प्रिया पुराना हो गया, नया है कोई मार्केट में? पापा की परी. अच्छा, जापान में और ज्यादा है. हाँ, बट इट्स एन एडवांटेज. The more young population you have, देखिए, large population is not a problem as long as majority of the people are young, because young workforce contribute to the economic growth. अब मान लेते हैं Japan has lesser population, Japan has less population than India, but majority of their people are old, so they are a burden on the economy. They are not productive. India is productive, but for them you have to have jobs in India, but you don't have job because of digitalization. Keep this fact in mind. According to World Bank, around 69% of the jobs in India are at the risk of disappearance because of digitalization. Government jobs particularly. You have seen banking exam. Banking. I don't think आप लोग बैंक का visit भी करते होंगे. There was a time when you have to go to bank for every small thing, withdrawing the money, transferring the money, depositing the money. Now you can do everything online. So मान लेते हैं previously government used to hire 4 clerk, 1 manager. Now they will hire 1 clerk only. Manager की भी जरूरत नहीं. And that's how before 2014 you used to have around 4 to I think 10,000 around manager level vacancies and 70,000 around clerk level vacancy in government banks collectively. Now it has come to the level of around 2 to 3,000 of manager level and around 10 to 12,000 of clerk level. So इसे ऐसे समझिए, every year 60,000 clerks who will get some money in their hand, and with money what will come? Demand. भाई पैसा कमाओगे, कहीं खर्च करोगे, you will have the money, you will spend in the economy, you will create demand. With demand, if I am a company, I will produce something. That's why India is in a big problem, because people do not have the money. पैसा नहीं होगा तो government when give job, it does not do any kind of charity to us. फ्री में कैसे पैसे बांट दोगे? पकड़ के जॉब दे सबको. तो वो पैसा काम का बचेगा? आंसर पता है फिर भी क्वेश्चन किया. सॉल्यूशन है साक्षी. देखिए सॉल्यूशन इसका क्या है, वी हैव टू रीस्किल द पीपल. क्योंकि जो टेक्नोलॉजी, ऐसा नहीं है कि टेक्नोलॉजी से सारी जॉब जा रही है, जॉब का नेचर बदल रहा है. The 69% of the job are at the verge of closure. पर इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि new jobs are not created. टेक्निकल फील्ड में देखिए, so many jobs are coming every day. आपका डेटा साइंसेस कितनी बढ़िया जॉब है. आपका सोशल मीडिया मैनेजर अब जॉब बन गई है, हाईली पेड जॉब. ठीक है, there are a lot of digital marketing. So new jobs are created, but problem ये है कि you cannot ask a carpenter to do digital marketing. उसको कैसे लाया जाए. You got the problem. The problem is that new jobs are being created, but how to shift this? And with excessive digitalization, तो ये अच्छा है, no doubt. But the problem is with too much digital commerce, our MSMEs are closing down. With MSME closing down, jobs will go down. With less jobs comes less demand. With less demand, economy will fall. One of the prime reason India is at a severe crisis is digitalization. Clear है सबको? खासकर गवर्नमेंट जॉब्स का. चलिए, तो यहां तक सबको क्लियर है. फ्यू डायमेंशन. अब मेन आते हैं ओएनडीसी. हाउ ओएनडीसी वर्क्स. ओएनडीसी में क्या होगा? इट्स अ ओपन प्लेटफॉर्म. अनलाइक Amazon and Flipkart which maintain monopoly, it's an open platform. Anyone, I hope you have seen the ad of Trivago. Trivago का ad देखा है? वो अजीब सा बंदा आके कुछ बोलता है. ठीक है, you can order that hotel from here and here. This is the best price. That is your ONDC. ONDC में क्या होगा? Every provider will be there, including your Amazon and Flipkart, Zomato, सब वहां पे है. What you have to do, for example, you search food. You want to order a food, you will search food. It will list all the providers, including Zomato, Swiggy और जो भी local होंगे. Whosoever sign up. मान लेते हैं I have a small restaurant. So rather than signing up to Zomato, I can sign up to ONDC. And it will provide a location service in your near location. These restaurants take online orders. So this is one platform. All restaurant will be registered here. You can see, for example, you want to have chili chicken. So what you will do? You will see which one provide the cheapest chili chicken. You can order from there, and they will directly supply to you. And for that supply, they can use any people. Yes, they will use Zomato delivery boy or Swiggy. They can use anyone. That's why this will democratize your e-commerce market. Now you do not have to depend on Flipkart, Amazon for sharing your product. All you have to do is register here. You will be available in the search engine of ONDC. Whenever somebody will order, you will directly supply. No need to go to Zomato or Swiggy. Clear sabko? It will democratize India's e-commerce market. That's why it is being considered as the second biggest revolution in India after UPI. UPI was the biggest revolution. It changed the payment system in India. After that, the second biggest revolution is being called ONDC. Sabko clear hai why it was brought? What is ONDC? Any confusion to anyone? चलिए क्लियर, तो जल्दी से रीड दे लेते हैं. आपको मैंने बता दिया, इट्स अ कॉमन फ्रेमवर्क फॉर डिजिटल कॉमर्स. इट विल एनहांस इंटरऑपरेटिबिलिटी एंड एनहांस द एफिशिएंसी ऑफ द डिजिटल मार्केट. और सबसे बड़ी बात, इट इज ओपन, सिक्योर एंड inclusive digital e-commerce. सबसे बड़ी बात ये, it is open to everyone. There is no restriction. You provide the service, the consumer buy the service. Nobody will interfere in between. The Amazon will not put Amazon choice. I don't get the point. So किस प्राइवेट एंटिटी को प्रॉब्लम होगा? इसमें कोई भी अप्लाई कर सकता है. इसमें आप छोटे से रेस्टोरेंट है, यू कैन बी हियर. क्या नहीं है? तुम्हारे आसपास पता काफी लोग बैठे हैं. एक एक थप्पड़ भी मारा मर जाओगे. भाग जाओ. फ्लैग में विद्रोह कर दूंगा. अच्छा आप लिखिए सोम, तब तक हम आगे बढ़ते हैं. ठीक है, चलिए आगे से जल्दी से देख लेते हैं. इट एम टू ब्रिंग टुगेदर, आपको ये सब तो समझ में आ ही गया होगा. की ऑब्जेक्टिव, इंटरऑपरेटिबिलिटी, डेटा एम्पावरमेंट. इंटरऑपरेटिबिलिटी, इट लिंक्स वेरियस रेस्टोरेंट्स, वेरियस प्रोवाइडर्स. सॉरी, बिकॉज अभी क्या होता है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल डेटा एम्पावरमेंट आप समझ रहे हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू मेक एन अकाउंट ऑन Amazon, Flipkart, anywhere. They have your data. They know what kind of things you buy. You provide basic information, your phone number, PAN number, whatever you provide. That data is not kept with themselves. They use that data to supply to somebody. आपने कई बार देखा, आपको कॉल आते हैं, सर पैन कार्ड बनवा लो, ये बनवा लो, सॉरी क्रेडिट कार्ड बनवा लो. उन्हें कैसे पता लगा? You never applied for a credit card. How could they know you want a credit card? Because you may have used something called pay later. आपने Amazon पे गए, Amazon provide a service, you can pay today, you can buy a product today, pay later. That is there. If you use that, तो it will signal to a credit card company that you need money in a credit card form. तो आपको कॉल करता है सर क्रेडिट कार्ड चाहिए. कैसे पता लगा उन्हें? इनकी वजह से. They take your data, supply to this company. That's what your digital marketers do. Clear सबको? So it will data empowerment because it's a government open source. हाँ, वो तो ठीक है, वो तो प्रमोशन का चीज है, वो ओके है. That's a genuine practice. But your data, whatever you provided, how it goes to them, that's a problem. तो इससे क्या होगा? We can deal with that also. So it will be interoperability, data empowerment, innovation, entrepreneurship. आप समझिएगा, consumer protection, ये सब बेकार. आगे बढ़ते हैं. अब आते हैं ONDC की प्रॉब्लम क्या? What are the issues? ब्रेक थक गए जल्दी. Very low stamina. ऐसे कैसे? तुम्हारा फ्यूचर ठीक नहीं लग रहा मेरे को. Sorry. डिजिटल इंक्लूजन बिकॉज इसमें द थिंग इज देयर आर लॉट ऑफ देखिए इसमें एक टर्म है डिजिटल इंक्लूजन. द टर्म इज हियर बिकॉज देयर आर लॉट ऑफ एक सेकंड देयर आर लॉट ऑफ शॉप्स एंड थिंग दे आर नॉट अवेलेबल ऑन डिजिटल मार्केट्स. इसमें क्या होगा दैट इट इज बीइंग सेड ओवर टाइम जब ये फैलेगा, जैसे यूपीआई अब गांव-गांव में है, तो सिमिलरली द शॉप्स व्हिच आर अवेलेबल इन रूरल एरिया व्हिच आर नॉट ऑन Amazon. देखिए कीप दिस इन माइंड, entire transaction of India only 5 to 7% take place on e-commerce. Of all the transaction, all the buying and shopping, only 5 to 6% take place on e-commerce, that too in urban areas. So government is thinking that it will over time lead to go to rural areas also. So they will also come on digital platform. That is called digital inclusion. Clear है? हाँ बोलिए, आप क्या कह रहे थे? चलो यार आगे करते हैं, और भी न्यूज़ है. So what are the issues? Issues में जल्दी से देख लीजिए. Security of transaction. Why? It's an open data platform. तो ये तो आपका डेटा नहीं बेचेगा, लेकिन somebody can hack this data also. ये प्रॉब्लम है. ओपन सोर्स है, everyone can see the algorithm, everyone can see the data going. तो Amazon वगैरह क्या, they are a closed platform. Outside person cannot access, but they can access and sell to anyone. यहाँ पे nobody is stealing your data, but somebody can hack your data. That's one problem. Regulatory compliance आप समझिएगा, because e-commerce जो होता है it operates around the world. जैसे Amazon जो होता है, Amazon पे you can also order product from foreign countries. Amazon.com, Amazon.in पे you can order product within India. .com से you can order product even outside country, America, wherever. So in this case, how this compliance will work, ये समझ नहीं आया अभी. But that's a normal problem that comes with everything. अभी शुरुआत किया है, ठीक है. तो ओवर टाइम ये जो इश्यूज है, इनको धीरे धीरे इंटीग्रेट करते चले जाएंगे. क्लियर? यूजर अडॉप्शन आप समझिएगा, इट विल टेक टाइम फॉर द पीपल टू स्विच. लोगों की आदत नहीं, नोबडी लाइक चेंज. आप जैसे रोड से जा रहे हैं, आप उसी से हर बार जाते हैं, ये नहीं कि दूसरा रोड एक्सप्लोर कर ले, ऐसा यूजली नहीं करते लोग. So the people who are accustomed to this Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, they will take time to switch to ONDC, but nonetheless it can happen. चलिए जो भी है. Trust and reputation government does not enjoy. अब आज जल्दी से ई कॉमर्स पॉलिसी पढ़ लेते हैं. मैंने आपको बता दिया है, प्रीवियस ईयर यूपीएससी asked the question over this directly. They directly asked the question about e-commerce policy in the prelims. So that's you have to cover every time. Every Supreme Court judgment, every policy and every action of the government must be covered, but without deep details. Few idea, 2 to 3 points about what is that scheme, why, what is that scheme, policy, initiative, why it was brought, what is the status, what is left out. ये 3-4 चीजें you must know about every policy, and compulsorily do not leave any policy. क्लियर सबको? लेट्स सी व्हाट इट इज. देखिए इसमें देयर आर सम रेस्ट्रिक्शन. पहला ये है, इट बार्स ऑनलाइन रिटेलर फ्रॉम सेलिंग प्रोडक्ट थ्रू वेंडर्स इन व्हिच दे हैव इक्विटी इंटरेस्ट और एक्सक्लूसिव डील, जैसे आपने देखा ना कई बार एक्सक्लूसिवली ऑन मिंत्रा, एक्सक्लूसिवली ऑन फ्लिपकार्ट, दे कैन नॉट डू दैट आफ्टर दिस पॉलिसी, पर वो अभी भी करते हैं. बिकॉज द प्रॉब्लम विद इंडिया वी हैव इज इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. वी मेक लॉ बट वी आर अनेबल टू इम्प्लीमेंट लॉज. एंड व्हाई इज इट सो? कोई पॉलिटी की क्लास का है क्या यहाँ पे? But it is called a state which make laws but unable to enforce. Soft state. एक term होती है for the other people who are not from my class. There is a term called soft state. एक term होता है rule of law. Rule of law means once a law is made, everyone will obey. एक होता है soft state. It is an exception to rule of law. It is a state which is lenient on the people who do not obey the law. For example, Corona period में people were fined. You must have seen. Common people were bitten by the police people when they were outside, but Prime Minister was having a rally and he was not fined by anyone. So when there is a law, it must apply to everyone equally, na? So India is a case of soft state, and that's the problem. This law, this policy clearly says that you cannot sell a product in which you have equity interest. Equity interest means ownership or exclusive deal, but still you see exclusive deal on Myntra everywhere. So this is one of the problem. Implementation is weak in India, but nonetheless, remember this point as it is. From now on, remember that no online platform can provide exclusive deals. They cannot sell more than 25% of the product from same vendor. ठीक है? Next point. ये तो मैंने आपको बता दिया. They cannot control inventory of the vendors. वो मैंने आपको बताया marketplace versus inventory model. India में we have only marketplace model legally speaking. If interview mate is asked, you will say India is a partial case because it is not a soft state. Very good example. This Ram Rahim type के लोग जेल में हैं. If India is a soft state, then these so big politicians and big gurus would not be behind bars. So they are. हाँ but ठीक है. It is not a perfect rule of law situation, but इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि पूरी खराब है. It is something better. चलिए anyway. First point को as it is remember. Second point is they cannot control inventory of the vendors. I told you India has a marketplace model of e-commerce. India does not allow inventory model of e-commerce. Marketplaces cannot influence prices with special offers, but वो करते हैं, हमें पता भी है, but it is not allowed as such. हाँ तो मैं कह तो रहा हूँ we have a policy, but नहीं follow होती है, अब क्या कर सकते हैं? That's the problem of governance. इसकी चलो ठीक है, ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा ये. Audible to everyone online. चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. ये आपको समझ में आ गया? They cannot give deep discounting, but हर कोई कर रहा है तो क्या कर सकते हैं इसका? Next thing, government must be given access to source code, algorithm और जो भी नाम है इस्तेमाल करते हैं. Why? Because government must know what you are doing, how you are using people's data. And another thing, all companies must be registered in India. If you want to operate in India, you must be registered like a e-commerce in India. Amazon must be having a registered office in India, Amazon India. Why? To have legal accountability. अब imagine करते हैं Facebook is providing you services, and if they are not registered in India, then Indian courts cannot call them. Company registration मतलब you will have a legal identity in India, which the government can use for law purposes. Every company has a legal identity. That's why you see na stamp. They have a stamp of their company. That is like a signature of the company. जैसे आप signature करते हैं, company stamp लगाता है. It's equally valid. Legal fiction है, but they are. So they must be registered like. दे मस्ट बी रजिस्टर लाइक, ठीक है। मार्केट प्लेस मैंने आपको समझा ही दिया, मार्केट प्लेस इन्वेंट्री मॉडल। बाकी आपको समझ में आएगा। ओएनडीसी होगा तो जो अनफेयर एडवांटेज, एवरीथिंग इज रिटन हियर। The unfair advantage they still enjoy. People are complaining in spite of this policy. Every online platform is involved in promoting some product. They're still selling product exclusively from the people. इसीलिए ONDC लाया गया था। ONDC लाया गया because this policy is not working very well. 2019 में आई थी। Still you can see product exclusively available on one platform. जबकि illegally ban है। So we are trying to do. हिंदू पढ़ने में प्रॉब्लम आएगा, उसके लिए आप लोग वर्डिंग रखा करिए। विच एवर हार्ड वर्ड यू फाइंड इन हिंदू, उसकी आप लिस्ट बना लीजिए एंड रॉट लर्न दैट एवरी टाइम। फॉर एग्जांपल 5 वर्ड्स एवरी डे। तो बाय द टाइम यू आर, और सी सेट इसमें आपका काम, देखिए सी सेट को प्लीज नोबडी टेक इट फॉर ग्रांटेड। अभी कल yesterday it happened, a girl called me around 10 o'clock. Usually मैं इतनी टाइम पे फोन नहीं उठाता, थोड़ा नशे में होता हूँ, ठीक है। Just kidding. So बियर का टेस्ट खराब करते हैं लोग मेरा। Anyway, so the thing is, she called. I was eating the food, so I did not pick up. So she messaged. She was in depression actually. What happened? Marks release हो गए ना अभी. Marks has been released after the paper. So she thought कि she may have failed in GS1. And she was a banking manager or something. When she left the job, she was a banking manager or something. She has some personal reason for preparing for Indian service, personal reasons. So she left it. अब banking में थी, इसका मतलब she was very good at aptitude and all, क्योंकि उस banking में सिर्फ वो आता है। So she took it for granted. And जब marks आए तो she was shocked. She cleared the GS paper. She had more marks than the cutoff, but in CSAT she was left. And she was like कि सर बिल्कुल पढ़ने का हिम्मत नहीं हो रहा है, और होगा भी नहीं। तो I said कि is somebody with you, क्योंकि ज्यादातर बच्चे यहीं रहते हैं। Problem is they are out from the family, friends, they may have a psychological pressure. So I asked her, she said कि I am with somebody, पर उसका पेपर है इस बार 28 को, तो I cannot disturb that person. तो I said घर चले जाओ। And she was like कि मेरा कोर्स पेंडिंग पड़ा है, some mentorship program is going on in some institute, तो वहाँ पे टीचर प्रेशराइज कर रहे हैं कि you left few papers। उसमें क्या है, हर हफ्ते you have to study and there is a paper, हफ्ता then there is a paper, mentorship program, पता नहीं किसका है। So and she was in pressure कि दे, उसने समझाने की कोशिश करी होगी टीचर को कि सर I cannot attend, and he was like you must attend। पीछे हो गया, आप आगे बढ़ सकते हो, do it, it's a failure। I was like कि पता नहीं कहाँ से इंस्टा देख के आया था वो। I was like ऐसी stupidity नहीं होती, we are human beings, you are in a psychological pressure, and I know her backstory, it's very dark। So that dark backstory plus this pressure, and you can take a bad decision, और यहाँ पे कोई है भी नहीं। So I said go home, 2-3 दिन में you go home, refresh yourself, come back। दुनिया नहीं बदलेगी, I can guarantee you personally। And there is a problem with the people, they think they are the center of the world। I can guarantee you आपके होने ना होने से समाज को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला, ठीक है। The earth will continue with this rotation, ठीक है। So you are not center of this earth, so do not take too much pressure, what I am trying to say। So I hope वो चली गई, I will take the status after class कि क्या हुआ। But that is what I am saying, इतना प्रेशर लेने का नहीं जिंदगी में, मजे करने का, और सिर्फ मजे भी नहीं करने का, थोड़ा बैलेंस रखिए। काइंड ऑफ, हाँ बोलो, चलिए। हाँ क्या मैंने क्या बोला, मैं अकेला था। पॉइंट टू बी नोटेड माय लॉर्ड। चलो, हाँ वो वहाँ पे है, पोर्टल में है सोहम। आई थिंक यू डू नॉट हैव द एक्सेस, तो मेल कर दीजिए, बट आई हैव गिवन एक्सेस टू एवरीवन। चलिए क्वाइट आगे देखते हैं। सो स्टैंडिंग कमिटी, पार्लियामेंट्री स्टैंडिंग कमिटी। पहला तो व्हाट इज स्टैंडिंग कमिटी, सबको पता है क्या होता है ये। पार्लियामेंट हैज सम कमिटीज, they are supposed to evaluate the government, because we know that state what हम सब समझते हैं, state माने territory having a population ruled by a sovereign। So that state we have divided into 3 parts: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary। So the function of legislature is two. Pehla, make laws to govern all of us, and second, keep an eye on executive, that is the government on our behalf. So for that, they have, Indian Parliament has created some committees. What this committee does, they keep a sharp eye on the department. मान लेते हैं parliamentary committee on external affairs, parliamentary committee on homes, parliamentary committee on MSME जो भी है. So every government department or ministry has a mirroring committee of parliament. It has elected MPs and they keep an eye on the functioning of ministry, and they generate report every now and then, and that report is used, also available to public, to so that they can see what is the performance of the government, because those MPs are working on our behalf, they are our representative. सबको clear है? And we have some committee which are standing, मतलब they always stay, and other committees are called ad hoc. They are created for a purpose, they do their business, then they are dissolved. These are standing committee. So one of the standing committee is Parliamentary Standing Committee on Commerce. So it has given a report on e-commerce. So what is the report? Report says few platform control large part of e-commerce. In spite of your policy, majority of the e-commerce is controlled by few companies. Second problem, the platform neutrality. जबकि policy क्या कहती है? You cannot give preferential treatment to any vendor, but still they give preferential treatment. ठीक है, तो पहला तो problem that entire e-commerce is concentrated in few companies. Second, there is no platform neutrality. They promote products, and deep discounting is still a problem in spite of having a policy. बाकी तो आपको पता ही है, non-transparent search ranking and misuse of data. Data को I told you, they sell at will. That you will do in proper polity, Rohit. यहाँ पे I just give you a reference. You have मेल का इशू है, सो हमको आपका मेल नहीं आता है. Ask the institute. They have access to the folder also. They will share with you. Ask the institute. उनसे बोलिए कि मुझे folder का access चाहिए current affairs का. Anyone in the class? अच्छा, आपको तो वैसे भी offline मिलता है. चलो, नहीं कुछ नहीं, आगे. ठीक है, it has given some stupid recommendation that no one will keep an eye on. हाँ, एक चीज याद रखिएगा, prelims fact, DPIIT. ये fact याद रखिएगा prelims के लिए. That which institution of government of India deals with startups and e-commerce? It is DPIIT under Ministry of Commerce. DPIIT is a body under Ministry of Commerce, and it keeps an eye on e-commerce and startup India. Keep this fact for prelims. चलिए बाकी criticism वगैरह छोड़ते हैं. चलिए, let's come to the next news. We don't have much time left. अब millets. So what is about millets? Millets are hardy crops. Hardy crops means they can be grown in wide kind of climates. Why they are important? I told you green revolution in the first news. So this is in this you have green revolution also. You can open if you want. आगे pages में है. So मिल गया सबको green revolution? ठीक है. So what is the problem with green revolution? The problem with green revolution that we have is that it made India food sufficient. ये हमें पता है. And it was based on HYV seeds plus fertilizers plus irrigation, and that too assured irrigation. But every place पे the assured irrigation did not spread, so they substituted it with tube wells. This we know. There is a problem with that. When you use tube wells, you extract too much of water. You extract too much of water to do irrigation. What happens is there is another problem with type of irrigation. We use something called flood irrigation. What kind of irrigation we use? Flood irrigation. What is the problem with flood irrigation? You have seen that there is a farm, they flood it with water. It is too much wastage of water. There are two problems. First, you extracted a lot of water from the ground. So what it will do? It will lower the water table. सबको समझ में आ रहा है? You extracted too much groundwater, it will lower the water table. Because of that, the contaminants that are in soil, which are at the bottom, they become accessible for drinking. Have you ever seen knockney? Knees देखिए, they are knockney at the joint, they are either near or too much far. It happens because we are drinking a water with fluoride concentration. Fluoride create knockney problem. So it happens, and there are a lot of people having this water-based problem. Oh, sorry, most of the diseases are water-based. So what happened? You extracted too much water for what? For irrigation of HYV seeds. That too much irrigation say you lower the water table. So the contaminant that were at the bottom of the soil, they become accessible in drinking water. बात समझ में? And you drink that water, you get knockney and numerous kind of diseases from the water. First problem. Second problem, you extracted that water and you did flood irrigation. A flood irrigation mein you had put a seed, then fertilizer, and then water. So that water will absorb fertilizer, and then that water will go underground. So ek to you polluted groundwater by extracting too much, and then you polluted groundwater by pesticides and fertilizers. So two pollution are in groundwater. Third thing, the too much water that you have put on the farm, what it will happen? It will run off. Run off to where? Nearby stream, lakes, everywhere, and it will lead to something called eutrophication. Ever heard of this word, eutrophication? Eutrophication का मतलब होता है overload of nutrients. When nutrients become too much in a lake, it is called eutrophication. It is a natural process. As an it's a natural process. It's always a natural process. A lake is created. मान लेते some depression happen from tectonic activity or otherwise, a lake is, water comes in, a lake is created. Over time, the lake dies. It always happens. But what we are doing is we are killing it faster. Overload of nutrient, there will be algae. You have seen that upper layer green algae. What that does is it covers the upper layer of the lake. Now the sun rays cannot penetrate into the water. So the species below the algae, who will make oxygen in the water? Plants, aquatic plants. Aquatic plants do not have sun rays to create oxygen. So the species within the lake dies. They settle at the bottom. Over time, the lake fills up. So this is another problem. So these are the problem of green revolution. And who is the biggest victim of this? Punjab and Haryana. Western bhi hai, Punjab and Haryana basically. Why they are the biggest victim? Because they are the biggest beneficiary of green revolution. यहाँ तक सबको क्लियर है? There is another problem. ठीक है, ये तो हो गया आपका natural cause. There is another problem of government procurement. Government gives something called MSP. Up MSP government often provide, I think, for 23 crops and one sugarcane. Sugarcane has a different mechanism. It is not under MSP. So out of 23 crops, only 2 crops are procured effectively. That is wheat and rice. I am a farmer. Of course, I am a businessman. I will grow that crop. Now that can be bought by the government. Why would I grow something that is not under MSP? So what I do, I grow wheat, rice, wheat, rice, wheat, rice. I deteriorate the soil. समझ में आ रहा है? उसके लिए the solution that we have is millets. Another solution we also have pulses. Pulses जो होते हैं, they are good at nitrogen fixing. The majority of the fertilizer that farmer uses, urea. Urea is a nitrogen fertilizer. Majority of the farmer use fertilizer is urea, which is a nitrogen fertilizer, and they use too much of urea because soil does not have nitrogen, because you are using wheat, rice, wheat, rice, wheat, rice. But if you grow pulses in between, the pulses roots, they have bacteria that fix nitrogen from atmosphere in the soil. One advantage. Second, if you grow things like millet, they are highly nutritious crop. सबको समझ में आ रहा है? They are highly nutritious. Most important thing, second most important thing, they are hardy crops. Means they can be grown in wide kind of environments. Or majority of India's and agriculture is रेन फेड. आप हर दिन सोचते हैं ना कि एग्रीकल्चर हैज फेल्ड एट दिस प्लेस, एट दैट प्लेस देयर वाज नो रेन और टू मच रेन. इन सच सिनेरियो यू कैन ग्रो मिलेट्स. सबको समझ में आया? तो ग्रीन रिवोल्यूशन के कारण द इकोलॉजिकल डिजास्टर, ग्रीन रिवोल्यूशन इज गुड इन फूड बट ग्रीन रिवोल्यूशन वाज अ इकोलॉजिकल डिजास्टर. To deal with that we have something called millets, or we can do pulses also. Clear? अब जल्दी से let's see what it is. तो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, द यूनियन मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर एंड फार्मर वेलफेयर, नेम इज नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट. हाँ, नाफेड. यहाँ पे एक नाम है नाफेड, इसमें नोट्स में है वैसे नाफेड का रोल. देयर आर टू बॉडीज, आपने शायद नाम सुना होगा. नीचे देखो, नीचे लिखा है नाफेड एंड एफसीआई. देयर आर टू बॉडीज कॉल्ड नाफेड एंड एफसीआई. नाफेड इज नेशनल एग्रीकल्चर कोऑपरेटिव मार्केटिंग फेडरेशन इंडिया लिमिटेड. लिखा तो है नोट्स में, नेशनल एग्रीकल्चर कोऑपरेटिव मार्केटिंग फेडरेशन इंडिया लिमिटेड. तो दोनों का डिफरेंस याद रखिएगा, व्हाट एफसीआई डज एंड व्हाट नाफेड डज. रिमेंबर दैट फॉर प्रीलिम्स. रिमेंबर दैट फॉर प्रीलिम्स व्हाट नाफेड डज. देखिए, नाफेड कैरी आउट प्रोक्यूरमेंट फॉर व्हाट? पल्सेस एंड ऑयल सीड. द प्रोक्यूरमेंट ऑफ पल्सेस एंड ऑयल सीड इज डन बाय NAFED. And what FCI procures? FCI procures wheat, coarse grain and rice only. ये जरूर याद रखिएगा, प्रीलिम्स के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्ट है. Every starting of the season the government declares something called MSP. Farmer grows that, then FCI and NAFED they procure that food, they take that to godowns. From godowns it go to state governments, then state government send that food to fair price shop, the sarkari kirana shop you have seen. From there, that fair price shop, it is distributed among the people based on their card that we call ration card. That is the entire process. Clear है सबको? ठीक है, चलिए. तो मिलेट के बारे में few prelims based knowledge we need to remember. Remember it is a small seeded grass. याद रखना है सबको ये बात. Prelims में if the question comes about millet, you must remember millet is a small seed grass. ठीक है, that is cultivated like a cereal crop, like rice or wheat you have for food and fodder. So three things you have to remember. Pehli, it is a small seed grass. Second, it is cultivated like a cereal crop. And third, it is used for both food and fodder. Fodder माने for animals, चारा के टाइप पे जो आप इस्तेमाल करते हैं. ठीक है, या मैंने आपको बताया दिया, it is highly nutritious and resilient crop. It can be grown in wide kind of environmental climatic conditions. So let's see. और ये आपको याद रखना नाम. This name you must remember. Types of millets. These name you must remember. इसमें difference जो है ना इतना important नहीं है. But remember the names. Name जरूरी है. पहला pearl millet. Millets grown in India. Number one is pearl millet. It is also known by the name of bajra. It is one of the most widely cultivated millet and particularly important for arid and semi-arid region of Africa and India. So number one millet is pearl millet, also known by the name of bajra. Next, finger millet, also known by the name of ragi or nachni. Okay? So first we have pearl millet, second we have nachni or finger millet. It is commonly grown in India, Africa and other part of Asia. Next is foxtail millet. It is the oldest cultivated millet. The oldest cultivated millet is foxtail and is grown in various parts of Asia, including India and China. It is highly tolerant to drought. It is used for both human consumption as well as animal feed. And last is little millet. It is a small grained millet used for human consumption. Significance of millet in environment and food security, we already know. Climate, resilient, water conservation, because these are drought tolerant crop. They take less amount of water. You do not require flood irrigation. What is the alternative to that? Drip irrigation. Drip and sprinkler. आप करेंगे proper economics classroom में, it is taught that alternative to flood is drip and sprinkler. But there is a problem, it is much technical. ये आसान होता है. All you have to do is bring the water, put it there. In that, there is a particular nozzle system. There will be pipe laid in the entire farm, and there will be particular nozzle delivering water drops to the seed directly. यहाँ पे तो आपने पूरे में पानी भर दिया, उसमें आप क्या करेंगे? You will have a particular network of properly laid plants with nozzles, and those nozzles will deliver only the required water, and that will directly at the root, so that there is no overflow, there is no penetration within the ground, there is no surface overflow leading to eutrophications. Clear to everyone? These are some alternatives we have. हाँ, costly है रोहित, that is what I am saying. It's a bit costly and technical also. थोड़ा इसमें एक्सपर्टीज लगता है, इसमें तो सीधा है पानी लाओ फैला दो रायते की तरह. चलिए, तो अगर आप वो नहीं कर सकते तो another option you have is millet. You can grow them and they can be a very good staple food for. और इंडिया, आपको पता है, इंडिया has a severe problem of hunger. In hunger index में we are had a very severe problem. I think I may have mentioned here. Check it out अगर मिले इसमें तो. है निकस खा लेंगे. ओहो, इसमें वो आप you must know that French वाला. French वाला याद है सबको? हाँ, if you don't have the bread, have the cake. कोई नहीं, गवर्नमेंट विल ब्रिंग अ स्कीम, स्निकर्स ईटिंग स्कीम. चलिए, अब थोड़ा सा हम बात कर लेते हैं हंगर के बारे में इंडिया में. तो यू हैव टू टेल मी, एंड दिस इज वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक. यूपीएससी ऑलवेज आस्क अबाउट कि कुछ इशू है जो यूपीएससी के फेवरेट है. हंगर, पॉवर्टी, malnutrition, particularly in child, and women issues. These are very favorite topic of UPSC. They always ask here and there, and very favorite. So keep that in mind. तो hunger की बात करते हैं. Hunger is of various types. ठीक है, I think मैंने यहाँ पे mention किया होगा. Yes, I have mentioned. तो hunger, global hunger index has been published. You have to remember. इसके लिए what you have to do? Prepare a list. कैसे you will cover index? Prepare a list, digital or paper पे, in which you will write index and publisher. UPSC every year ask one or two publishers. एक क्वेश्चन तो हमेशा आता है, who published this index? और सीधा क्वेश्चन होता है, either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. तो you है, हाँ, सीधा फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन पूछता है यूपीएससी. ये which of the institute publish this index या this indicator, हर बार पूछता है. So you have to create a list, indicators या index जो भी है, and who publish them. पब्लिशर का नाम याद रखिएगा. हाँ, तो वही कह रहा हूँ, दिस काइंड ऑफ इंडेक्स याद रखिए, पर लिस्ट बना लीजिए. व्हाई आई एम सेइंग द लिस्ट, अभी मत रटिएगा, बिकॉज इफ यू रीड टुडे यू विल फॉरगेट बाय द प्रीलिम्स और यू हैव टू वेस्ट योर टाइम. सो व्हाट यू डू, ऑल फैक्चुअल डेटा, जैसे ज्योग्राफी का, हिस्ट्री का, जहां भी है, फैक्चुअल डेटा को यू कीप ऑन अ लिस्ट एंड यू विल रॉट लर्न दैट लिस्ट 2 months बिफोर द प्रीलिम्स. अभी पढ़ेंगे तो भूल जाएंगे. जैसे आर्टिकल्स ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हो गए, कंटेंट तो आपको वैसे याद हो जाएगा, इट्स लाइक अ स्टोरी. But what is the number of article? You often forget. So for that you will create a list, digital और जैसे भी आप कर सकते हैं, and that list you will keep and you will use that list 2 months before the prelims. और 2 months before the prelims, there's a key rule: leave any new content. सिर्फ रिवीजन 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 रिवीजन, जितना कर लिया है सफिशिएंट है. फोमो हर किसी के अंदर होता है, फियर ऑफ मिसिंग आउट. ठीक है, यू मे थिंक आई मे बी मिसिंग अ पॉइंट जो मुझे कट ऑफ में ले जाता. ऐसा कभी नहीं होता. ठीक है, कीप दैट. अगर इफ देयर विल बी समथिंग इंपॉर्टेंट दैट यूपीएससी विल आस्क, इट मस्ट हैव बीन डन ऑलरेडी, बिकॉज़ यूपीएससी स्टार्ट मेकिंग द पेपर 2 to 3 months बिफोर द पेपर. लंबा प्रोसेस होता है. They invite question from a lot of people, then they juggle the question and they select which question will be in the paper. So 1 month before the prelims, paper is already published. तो कुछ नहीं लिख पाएंगे वो नया उसमें. क्लियर है? कीप दैट इन माइंड. ऐसा नहीं है स्मॉल फार्मर्स को बेनिफिट नहीं मिलते. अच्छा, आपके एरिया में गवर्नेंस प्रॉब्लम रोहित, ऑलवेज रिमेंबर द, नहीं मोदी की गलती नहीं है अंबर, मोदी की गलती नहीं है, ये सबकी गलती है, बैड गवर्नेंस, वेरी 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 बैड गवर्नेंस। चलिए चलिए जल्दी करते हैं। सो हंगर इंडेक्स में देयर आर फ्यू प्रॉब्लम्स। पहला प्रॉब्लम क्या है हमारा, द फर्स्ट प्रॉब्लम दैट वी हैव इज फॉर एग्जांपल वुमन न्यूट्रिशन। व्हाट इज द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम ऑफ मैटरनल मोर्टेलिटी? व्हाट इज द बिगेस्ट रीजन फॉर मैटरनल मोर्टेलिटी इन इंडिया? What? Anemia, yes, exactly, anemia. Particularly remember this term, IVI, iodine, vitamin, iron. The biggest problem of maternal mortality in India is anemia of iodine, vitamin, and iron, IVI. Another problem, the second most important problem is that the women in India start their pregnancy at a lower weight, or they do not gain sufficient weight. WHO recommended weight is around 18 kgs and they gain around India में 9 to 10 kgs, which is exactly half. This is the second biggest problem, and who is responsible for that? Bebo culture. This new culture, देखिए society, this new culture of a petite thin woman being attractive, that's the problem. Body shaming is very common, that if you're fat, मोटी हो रही हो, फैल रहे हो ज़्यादा से, अदरक हो गए हो, ठीक है? So you तो go to gym, मैंने सुना है, you go to gym, क्यों काहे जाते हो? ऐसे ही नहीं, ठीक है, फिट रहने के लिए। दे आर टू काइंड ऑफ जिमर्स, एक तो होते हैं एग्रेसिव जिमर, पागल हो जाते हो, ये मत खाओ, ये खा लो, ये मत खाओ, ये खा लो, ये खा लो। आई वाज लाइक तू निकल ले, ठीक है, और दिखाई मत दिवाली बात। दीज आर वेरी बैड पीपल। देखिए दे अननेसेसरली स्ट्रेन द बॉडी, ठीक है, जो फिटनेस के वाले अलग होते हैं। तो what are the issue? तो क्लियर है, द बिगेस्ट इशू इज प्रेगनेंसी वेट गेन। तो दैट इज द सेकंड मोस्ट इंपोर्टेंट इशू, आप लोग याद रखिएगा। What are the issue in child nutrition? What is the biggest issue in child nutrition, for which Modi ji brought Swachh Bharat Abhiyan? Very important. It's a very 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 important scheme of government of India, because it's a very small thing. What happens, for example, if you go for open defecation, there are bees, these ants and जो भी होती हैं, but flies, but they do sit there, they absorb that, and then they sit on your food. And there are two kind of immunity in human beings, innate and acquired. Adaptive, acquired. So innate, what you are born with. A problem ये the old people, देखिए we are habitual of junk, हमने बहुत खाया जिंदगी में, so we all are habitual, but a small kid is not. That person has not developed the antibodies required to fight that. So what happens, that kid get ill a lot. Or illness is not only about health, it is also about education and employment. The more you get ill, the less you will go to school. The less you will go to school, the less education. The less education means you will start thinking your interest in education that develops at the beginning will be out. And that's a severe problem. That's why government of India provide midday meal. Midday meal is the reason. We said send your kid to the school. The people said we are poor, we have to earn. How can I send this person to school? I want food. So we said we will provide the food. आप बस बच्चा भेजो, इससे डबल फायदा हुआ हमें। By providing the food, we can ensure high nutrition. With high nutrition comes good health. Good health means better schooling, and most important, in the parents will think at least I would not have to earn for the food of my kid. So that kid will be the responsibility of government of India or whatever state you live in. It's a good scheme. So we can this midday meal scheme, and other Pradhan Mantri schemes are for health. Yeah, the clear hai? So even then, what is the problem? Why we are bad in hunger index? Jabki we have everything. सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम तो है लैक ऑफ इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. देयर इज अनदर प्रॉब्लम. अब आते हैं मोदी जी. कौन बोला था मोदी जी का नाम? ठीक है, अब आते हैं मोदी जी. वाई? देखो, बिकॉज इट इज रिटन हियर. अभी और ये आपको प्रीलिम्स के लिए याद रखना है. प्रीलिम्स के लिए रिमेंबर दिस डेफिनेशन एज इट इज. What is undernutrition means the share of population whose calorie intake is insufficient. This term you have to remember as it is for prelims. Second, what is child stunting? Child stunting is a criteria of low height to age. Low height to age. If you are, देखिए, height is a very good indicator of your health. If you have a good height, it means you are better nutritious in during a क्या हुआ? नहीं, तुम्हारे बारे में बात नहीं. अरे तो मैंने गर्ल्स की क्या बात की? मैंने जनरली बोला है मैंने. लो हाइट टू, देखिए वुमन तो जेनेटिकली दे आर, मोस्ट ऑफ द वुमेन आर जेनेटिकली दे आर स्मॉलर देन द मेन इन एनी कंट्री. Another problem that we have problem is we are eating food but not nutritious. जंक बहुत खा रहे हैं. We are eating food that fills the stomach but that does not fill all the needs of the body. That junk does not lead to proper health. But height is a very good criteria of nutrition. ठीक है, keep that in mind. So child stunting is a height to age criteria. याद रखिएगा. Second, child wasting. Child wasting is weight to height criteria. Clear है? Child stunting माने height to age criteria and child wasting माने weight to height criteria. Last है आपका child mortality. Child mortality माने the share of children who dies before their 5th birthday. मतलब before 5 years of age, the child who dies, they are counted in child mortality. पहले मर गया पीजे. नहीं, मिड डे मील स्कीम इज वेरी गुड रोहित, वेरी 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 गुड. वीकनेस होगी बट स्टिल अ गुड. चलिए, तो इंडिया की कंडीशन क्या है इसमें ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स में? हाँ, डाउन टू अर्थ है हम. We are in a very bad condition. That's why whenever you will do economics, you will understand that GDP is not a good measure of development. जैसे मोदी सरकार क्या कहती है, वी आर द 5th लार्जेस्ट जीडीपी. अब हम क्या करेंगे? You are a 5th largest GDP, you are the 5th largest economy in the world with 50% malnourished women according to your data, 1/3 stunted child. ऐसी डेवलपमेंट का क्या फायदा? That's what मैंने नहीं बोला दिल्ली पुलिस ऐसा गांधी जी ने बोला है. There is nothing to be patriotic about a country that tolerates disease, hunger and malnutrition. गांधी जी himself said, what is the point of patriotism? उस देश के लिए जिस देश में गरीबी है, जिस देश में भूखमरी है. ऐसा मैंने फिर नहीं बोला, मैं फिर बता रहा हूँ. हाँ, कुछ साउथ में अच्छी स्कीम है. फॉर एग्जांपल कर्नाटका में द ब्रेकफास्ट स्कीम, अम्मा कैंटीन इन तमिलनाडु, वेरी वेरी गुड स्कीम्स, वेरी वेरी गुड. चलिए, एनीवे, तो इंडिया का स्टेटस आपको याद रखना है. इंडिया इज इन द कैटेगरी ऑफ सीरियस एस्पायरेंट है इंडिया इन हंगर इंडेक्स में. अब लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड. अब ये तो मान लेते हैं ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स इज पब्लिश्ड बाय, हु पब्लिश ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स? वाइल्ड लाइफ हंगर. ऊपर लिखा होगा नाम किसने पब्लिश किया है. हु पब्लिश ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स? वाइल्ड लाइफ हंगर. यस, वाइल्ड लाइफ हंगर. तो ये याद रखना प्रीलिम्स के लिए, हु पब्लिश दिस इंडिकेटर. So you can discard this. You can say it is a foreign propaganda to defame Modi ji. You can say this. It's a foreign propaganda. पर ये तो भारत सरकार का है. The upper global hunger index, when it came, the government criticized. Government said it is a foreign propaganda to defame India. चलो मान लेते हैं एक बार को, it is a foreign propaganda, but at least this indicator, National Family Health Survey, it is conducted by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare itself. It is India's data. Let's see what is India's performance in government's data. The latest report is known as NFHS 5. जो last report आपके पास आई है उसका नाम है NFHS 5, the 5th report. And who published this? Ministry of Health and Family Welfare conduct one integral survey named National Family Health Survey at the interval of 3 years. Prelims के लिए remember this thing, that NFHS is conducted by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare at an interval of 3 years. 3 years. ठीक है. The latest report is NFHS 5th. The latest report is NFHS 5th report. ठीक है. Let's see what is India's performance there. NFHS report notes that since 1999, India has been doing better and better in what? In removing malnutrition or hunger. However, for the first time, this trend has been reversed. पहली बार ऐसा हुआ है इंडिया में since 1999 that hunger is increasing in India. Why? The reason is, अब आप कह सकते हैं मोदी जी, because of demonetization. When you will do economics, you will understand. Economics में we teach something called four balance sheet problem. It was published by a scholar, Arvind Subramaniam. He published a white paper. White paper is a research paper along with a Oxford professor. They jointly published a paper. In that paper, they highlighted India has witnessed something called four balance sheet problem. Economics में proper करेंगे, but what is the argument there? It's said, simply मैं समझाता हूँ. मान लेते हैं you had 100 rupees in your pocket. Demonetization took 50 rupees out of it, and Corona and Ukraine war took the remaining 50 out of it. You are a beggar. If demonetization would not been done, then you people would be having at least 50 rupees in your pocket. And that's what is being said by Purnima Menon. Purnima Menon, she was working at International Food Policy Research Institute. She has said that a child's nutrition is survives on three-legged stool. A child's nutrition survives on three-legged stool. What are the three legs of that? पहला है sanitation. Sanitation मैंने आपको समझाया कैसे वर्क करता है. That fly वाला scene. Second, government support for nutrition. Remember midday meal scheme. And third is family income. So what happened because of demonetization followed by Corona? Family income decline. This what happened. That's why India में child hunger is increasing, and that's why India, being the fifth largest economy in the world, is world poverty capital. अब तो नहीं रहा, अब तो शायद दूसरे नंबर पर किस पे आ गया. I think previous year India was world poverty capital in the world, and we say that we are the fifth largest economy. This contrast is because GDP is never a good indicator of development. मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ, it may be an indicator of growth. It can tell how much you have grown, but it will never tell how much you have developed. Development is for everyone. Clear this much, everyone? So the reason that Purnima Menon has highlighted, the reason for India's decline was, जैसे यहाँ लिखा है, if family income declines, the stool become unstable. Since India's demonetization, family income has slid in India, leading to general slide in child nutrition. और ये fact है. Whenever family income declines, the child nutrition automatically declines, primarily for the girl child. जब भी चाइल्ड न्यूट्रिशन डिक्लाइन होता है, न्यूट्रिशन डिक्लाइन फॉर द एंटायर फैमिली, बट चाइल्ड के लिए डिक्लाइंस मोर, एंड इन दैट टू फॉर द गर्ल चाइल्ड इट इज मोर. दे ऑफन गिव प्रेफरेंस टू द मेल चाइल्ड ओवर द गर्ल चाइल्ड. सो एनीमिया हर्ट देम फर्स्ट. दैट वी विल मतलब इकोनॉमिक्स की क्लासरूम प्रोग्राम में होगा. चलिए, क्लियर है. तो बोथ इंडिकेटर, तो आपको क्या क्या रखना है इंडिकेटर्स में? व्हाट इज द इंडिकेटर? Who published them? For prelim, for mains, some few points, no detail, few points, two to 3 points. Or remember what is child wasting, what is child stunting, what is undernutrition, what is child mortality, can be asked directly in prelim. ठीक है, remember all the criteria. करप्शन इशू, किसने करप्शन हटाया डीमोनेटाइजेशन से? किसने बताया आपको करप्शन हटा डीमोनेटाइजेशन से? डीमोनेटाइजेशन में गवर्नमेंट रिमूव 500 1000 रुपी नोट. 99.9% नोट came back to RBI. कौन सा करप्शन हटा? It was an utter disaster. There was not even a single benefit of demonetization. Or look at our media. When Modi ji introduced 2000 rupee note, master stroke. When it has been withdrawn, master stroke. So introduction was master stroke, removal was master stroke. ये माया है मोदी जी. चलिए, anyway, Amber, there was not even a single advantage of demonetization that you can pin. And Delhi police, that is not me, that is Raghuram Rajan said this. I don't know. हाँ, उसने बोला है तो बोला है, मैं क्या हुआ अपने ऊपर लूँ? डरो मत. अच्छा, हाँ, बता तो रहे थे क्या बना, होम मिनिस्टर. चलो ठीक है. This I had for you today. Clear everyone? Anything you want to ask? किसी को कुछ क्वेश्चन? क्लियर? कौन बना रहा है? समरसेट बनाने होम मिनिस्टर, वो कब बन गया प्रधानमंत्री? सही है, अपने सपनों में तो कुछ भी बन सकता है कोई। अच्छा, डिस्कस कर रहे थे बनने के। देन व्हाट अबाउट, अरे हाँ, ट्राई शुभम अंबर, दैट थिंग इज ओके। आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि पैसे से करप्शन नहीं हुआ, आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट, बट आई एम सेइंग डिमोनेटाइजेशन से फायदा नहीं हुआ ना। आपने एक चीज सोची, आपने एक व्यक्ति को पकड़ने के लिए 99 व्यक्तियों को परेशान किया, अंडरस्टैंड दैट। चलिए कोई नहीं, वी विल अंडरस्टैंड दैट, कभी मौका लगेगा तो, कभी मौका लगेगा तो डिमोनेटाइजेशन कर लेंगे। गुस्सा आ रहा मोदी जी पे, इतना गुस्सा, डिमोनेटाइजेशन का गुस्सा है। चलो बाय बाय, देन वी विल मीट अगेन नेक्स्ट सैटरडे विद सम न्यू न्यूज। MD SMD, okay Soham, I will check it out. हाँ, could be, yes, could be Amber, it could be funded. हाँ हाँ, हम हम किसी सरकार को पसंद नहीं करते भाई, कोई भी हो। अच्छा, सरकार आपकी है कह रहे हो? हाँ हाँ, नहीं पर सर्विसेज फिर से हाथ से निकल गई ना, क्या करें। चलिए, बाय बाय एवरीवन, हैव अ नाइस वीकेंड। हाँ बोलो।